So hello guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. So in this tutorial video, we are going to learn about how to create a circular progress bar in animation by using CSS. As you can see that this is our HTML file which I already write down here guys. This is our section part, this is our div and I give them the class here, okay, and this is our circle. Let's see how it look like in live server. So as you can see, this is my circle here guys. As you can see 80%, as you can see this is my 50%, this is my 80%. So this is how it look like, and this is I give them the class as a number here 25 percentage. Then once again text, this is simply I copied from this one. As you can see, you just need to copy this one and paste it here, and as you can see it's simply the same thing here which I already did here. Okay, now let's move forward to our main file, our CSS. So let's start with our CSS file. So firstly I'm going to use our section part here guys. Let's curly brackets open and close, and let's write down our position as a relative, then display as a flex, then justify content as a center, then align items as a center. Then let's give them the padding here guys. So I give them as a 40 pixel and 0. Then let's give them the minimum height as a 100 vertical height. Then background as a hashtag 5D0416, which I already selected. Now let's give them the section before. Let's see how it look like. As you can see, this is now let's sorry, now let's write down our section before. So I'm going to give them the content as a empty here guys. For empty you need to write down your double single comma. Now let's give them the position as a absolute, then give them the top as a 45 percentage, then left as a 0, then width as a 100 percentage, height as a 50 pixel, and let's give them the background as a hashtag. Which color do you want? Let's see, let's take a green color. As you can see it's in center mode right now, green color. Now let's move forward to our dot container class. As you can see this is our container class. This is our section clear guys. Now let's move forward to container, then card, then box and all. Okay, so let's write down dot container. Sorry guys. Now let's curly brackets open and close. I'm going to give them the width as a 900 pixel, then display as a flex, then flex drop as a drop, then justify content as a space around. This is clear our guys. As you can see this is how it looks like. Now we are going to use our dot container dot card. Curly brackets open and close. Let's give them the position as relative, then width as a 250 pixel. Let's give them the height as a 300 pixel. Now let's give them the alignment as a center. As you can see this is our text, so let's give them the text align as a center, in center mode right now. Let's give them the Z index as a 10. Let's give them the margin, not max resolution. Let's give them the margin as a 20 pixel and 10. If you want, let's give them the 60 pixel. Now let's write down here our dot container dot card dot box. Curly brackets open and close. As you can see, which I choose here, container, card and box all in one. Okay. Now we are going to write down our position as a absolute. Then save. As you can see, this is my max here, science and English. Okay. Now I'm going to write down as a top as a 0. Then I'm going to give them the let position as a 0. Then once again I'm going to write our width as a 100%. Now let's give them the height. Okay, then flex display as a flex. So let's first write down our height as a 100%. Now let's give them the display as a flex. Our content as a center mode. As you can see, our circle bar is in center mode right now. Our text is also center mode. Now let's give them the align items as a center. As you can see. Now let's give them the background. I'm going to choose as a RGBA. Let's give them 255, 255, 255, 0.05. As you can see, my background is selected right now. Now let's give them the shadow here, guys. Okay. So for shadow, we are going to use our box shadow. 0, 15 pixel, 35 pixel, and our which we are going to write our RGBA color, but RGB color. So let's give them the 0, 0, 0. Now let's give them the alpha as a 0.5. Let's just clear this one. So as you can see, this is my box shadow is clear, guys. As you can see that. Now let's add some more here backdrop filter. We are going to add our. So let's write down backdrop filter. So backdrop filter as a blur 15 pixel. Now let's give them the border. I'm going to select as a solid RGBA 255, 255. Now let's 255 and our alpha as a 0.1. Sorry. Now let's write down our Z index as I write down here 10. Let's give them the border radius if you want to do that. Let's give them the border radius. So our card box container card box is clear, guys. Now let's move forward to our next class is our percent. So let's write down percent curly brackets open and close position as a relative, then width as a 150 pixel, then height as a 150 pixel, then border radius as a 50 pixel, then our lastly is Z index which I give them the 100%. Now let's move forward to our dot percent dot number. Let's curly bracket open and close. As you can see that this is our number inside the div class percent. That's why I write them both at once. Now let's give them the position as a absolute here, which we need to give them. Then save. Now let's write down our top as a 0, then left as a 0, width give them as a 100%, height as a 100%. Now let's give them the display as a flex, justify content as a center. As you can see, it's center mode right now, all my text. Okay. It's going to visible, don't worry, because I selected black color, that's why it's didn't visible, as you can see as here. Now let's write down our align items as a center. As you can see, it's in center mode right now. Now let's use our dot percent dot number. Now we are going to choose our h2 tag here. So let's write down curly brackets open and close. Let's select the color as a white. As you can see, it's now visible. Let's give them the font weight. Now let's give them the font size as a 50 pixel. As you can see, if I select 700 and this is font weight is false. Now let's move forward to over. Let's just copy this one and write down span. Why span? Because we give them here. As you can see, this is our percent number add to tag, and inside the add to tag we write down our span tag. So that's why we writing here our span tag here, guys. Now let's write down our font size as a 24 pixel. Okay. Now we are going to write our main point here, our dot text. As you can see, this is our dot text. We are going to write down our main part here, guys. Okay, so let's give them the position as a absolute. Sorry. Now let's give them the bottom. If you want to give them the top here, you can also do that. So as you can see, I write down bottom, then it's become visible in the bottom right now. If you write down top, then it's going to up, as you can see. So according to your need, you need to write it down here, guys. Now let's give them the left position as a 50 percentage. So it's becoming center mode slightly. Now let's give them the transform as a translate x minus 50 percentage. Now let's give them the text align as a center. It's in center mode right now. Now let's write down our padding. Let's give them the space. So I'm going to give them the 30, 20 pixel and 10 pixel. Now let's write down our background here, guys. So let's write down background. So I'm going to choose our RGB. So I'm going to write down here 35 as a red, green as a 21 and blue as a 142. So yeah. Now let's save. As you can see, it's now look like this. Now let's move forward to our border radius. So I give them as a 10 pixel. Now let's give them the font weight and our font size. So let's just copy this one and paste. Let's give them as a 20. Yeah, it's now visible. Now let's give them the later spacing. So I give them the later spacing as a 1 pixel. Then text transform as a uppercase. So as you can see. Now let's move forward to a box shadow if you want to add. So I'm going to add a box shadow as a 0, 15 pixel, 35 pixel, and I'm going to write down RGBA 0, 0, 0, 0.2. Now let's move forward to our Z index, guys. So I give them here 1, Then let's write down our pointer events. Let's firstly save. So I'm going to give them the pointer events as a, if you want to give them the stroke, you can also do that. But I'm going to give them as a none here, guys. Now let's give them the transition here, guys. If you want to add some transition here, so let's add some transition as a bottom 0.5 second, z index as a 0 second, transform as a 0.5 second, padding as a 0.5 second. So as you can see, when I refresh, it takes some time here, as you can see. So that is how it works. Now let's add some more here, transition delay. If you want to delay the transition, you can also do that by adding transition delay. I'm going to give them 0.5 second, 0.5 second. This is our, now let's add our box shadow effect, and this is our text. So as you can see, that is how it works. If you want to give them the text, the color, you can also do that. So let's give them the white color. So as you can see, sorry guys. Now let's move forward to our dot card hover as a dot text. Then save, curly brackets open and close. Let's write down our transition delay as a 0 second, 0.5 second, 0.5 second, 0 second. Now let's give them the bottom. Bottom I'm going to give them this minus 70 pixel. Then Z index as a 11. Transform as a translate X. And write down here minus 50 percentage. Let's also write down our translate Y as a minus 50 pixel. So as you can see, when I move my mouse over here, it's become animation. So that's why we use here. If you want to give them the space here by adding padding, so let's give them the padding as a 10 pixel, 20 pixel, 10 pixel. So as you can see, so that is how our card over text effect works here, guys. Now we are going to write down our child here inside the card. So let's write down card nth child we are going to use here as a first one. I give them dot t text, curly brackets open and close. I'm going to give them the background color here, guys. So let's give them the 38B50, which I already pick here, as you can see. So let's just copy this one, paste and paste. So I'm going to change the name only here and save. So let's just change the color here. So I'm going to write down here 1C. So that is how you can change the color, guys, of the particular text. As you can see, there's a space here in our circle. It's going to change, don't worry, guys. Now we are going to write down our SVG. So let's write down our SVG position as a relative. Now let's give them the width as a 200 pixel and our height as a 200 pixel. It's become visible right now, pure circle, as you can see. Okay, now let's move forward to our SVG circle part here, guys. As you can see, This is our SVG and this is our circle. So let's curly brackets open and close. Let's give them the width, height, fill and stroke width. Let's firstly write down our width here guys and height. As you can see. Now I'm going to fill as a none here guys. As you can see, it's not anything right now. Filling. Now I'm going to add our stroke width here guys as a 10. Now let's give them the stroke RGBA. I'm going to write down personally as a 0.9. Then save. As you can see, I give them the 10 here. If I give them 0, then it's going to not visible. That's why I write down here 10 here guys. Now I'm going to write down our transform as a translate. This is our translate x and y here guys. Both are going to use here. Okay. So my stroke width is 10. So let's write down here 5 as a x and 5 as a y. So it's become perfectly center. If I write down here 20, then it's not going to properly work here because we write down only 10%. But when I write down 20 pixel, then as you can see, it's still remaining here. So for that, you need to write down 10 pixel here and 10 pixel here. Then it's become perfectly circle right now. So that is how you can do that, guys. Okay. Now let's give them the stroke line cap as a round. This is our SVG circle ends here, guys. Okay. Now let's give them the SVG circle NTH child. We are going to use as a second one. Now let's curly brackets open and close. Let's give them stroke as a triple F. Let's write down here stroke dash array we are going to use here guys. So I'm going to use as a 450 pixel. As you can see, it's become visible over. Now let's give them the stroke dash offset as a 450 pixel, the same as one. So as you can see, okay, here our SVG circle NTS child works done here guys. Okay, now let's move forward to our last point. So make sure you attention guys. Now let's ATS child 1 I'm going to write down here, and this is we are going to write down our this one SVG circle 2. Okay, now let's curly brackets open and close. So I'm going to stroke dash offset. Now I'm going to use our calculate here guys. Whichever stroke dash array and dash offset you write here, so you need to write down that here. So according to our calculate method here, max method works here guys. Okay, so I'm going to write down here now, then divide by 100. So this is our card NTH done here guys. Let's just copy this one and paste. So I'm going to give them the second one here as a third. Here I'm going to give them as a 50 and here as a 80. So here as you can see that guys, this is my 20%, this is my 50%, and this is my 80%. So that is how it works here guys. If you have any query, write down in the comment section, and also don't forget to write your email ID for the source code. Okay, and also don't forget to like, share and subscribe. Bye.